Probably you're supposed to be sitting or taking up a role or a responsibility that is higher than what you have now. And then it just all comes out to say, this one was doing this. And then now I'm here. That I should be having sterling records.
People don't introspect.
That's the thing.
Because I feel like if you take time and you think about yourself as an individual, who am I? What am I here for? What impact do I want to leave, or what legacy am I leaving? Somewhere, something should touch you, because we all have the God image in us somewhere.
But you know that sometimes. Now, I'm not trying to play devil's advocate here, but then I'm just, you know, but then you know that sometimes when somebody says, you know, Mike Tyson, the boxer, would say that, you know, you have a game plan until you get into the ring and then you are punched and all the game plan has left your head. Yeah. You know, now you're now fighting for survival. You're now fighting for survival.
Yeah.
You know, maybe growing up, you went to school, came out of school, you had plans in your head. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get to this level in my life. And then after school, 1 year,
life happens.
2 years, you're now wondering what life is giving you uppercut, giving you triple combo. As in you are there thinking, you're not looking at
finish it.
You understand? You are looking cost. Like you go to this one, no. You go to this one, you know reach. You go to this one, you don't finish. Then they now finally they smuggle you, they shoehorn you into that kind of place, like civil service or anywhere, you know. And at that point, because you've already started imbibing this survival culture. It's not all about ladder. It's not all about turtle shell. Let me just guide. My just want to see front. It's not all about, okay, so what's the next thing? You're not looking about next thing.
Why you they use and guide? Why you not do the work where they pay you to do?
That's the simple
I don't understand. Guide your guide. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Are they guide, right? God, all these donkey years. You know, go just feel, say, oh boy,
this small
make I show God, say this opportunity where he give me, if I let her spoil.
But you know that sometimes.
One said you are now there. After donkey years of not getting job, and then you come and want to. Now only you there. You know that's the reason why we now have the increase of Yahoo. We now have youths who want to do blood sacrifices using their siblings, using their parents. Why? Because the principle of working has been taken away. We don't talk or preach dignity of labor anymore. Now blue collar jobs are seen as menial and beneath people. Imagine someone who has a degree and then he says, no, I'm a BSc holder, I can't clean. All that donkey is where you say life they give you uppercut, triple cut. It don't give you. You get options now make. Because if your back reach wall, you will clean legitimately to get money until you get to that level.
See a tweet?
We are not getting the degrees because we want to do signing paper.
Did you see a tweet recently where one guy said he was in the bus and then the conductor, the conductor was and then the mother, a woman was carrying a child. The child was mimicking the conductor, and she now said, the child told the child to shut up. May you not become a conductor. And the conductor was so angry. He was so broken. He told the woman to calm down. Calm down. Say, me, I don't have life.
So that's the thing. If we come to a point where it's just like this thing we talk about, Western world, the US and all. The people making the real money are not those sitting in the offices.
Yeah, blue collar workers.
Go to the salons. People that know how to make hair. They are cleaning out steady. Mechanic guys, as in your car stops on the road for you to get an auto.
Before you go find plumber and mechanic,
so because they are so expensive, some people are beginning to do this handwork themselves for someone to get someone to mow their lawn. It's huge money. So instead of me to go and pay, let me learn how to do it. Right. People are now doing things themselves. Why? Because these supposed artisans and all of that, they are the ones that are making money. But here, because our mindset is skewed, it is from the foundation, the home. We have messed it all up.
There's a white lady married to a Nigerian, 1 year child.
I'm following her
son.
They sent him to go and learn mechanic.
My friend, I told him, oh boy, send your daughter. She's 11 in just one. This long holiday, while others were going to coding classes. She's busy learning tailoring.
That is it.
Why? Because she has a flair for fashion. She's always very fashion conscious. So on going back to school now, the first day they resumed, said she told her friends and they were laughing at her. I just said, don't bother.
No, she should tell them about
They don't-
James now.
They don't know nothing.
That's how we
Just,
started.
You know,
Today,
just
look at
leave
look at her.
it.
Even
Nah,
James,
that
because
is-
you wear coat, go see wear cloth.
Exactly.
Yes, now,
exactly.
yeah.
Now that big babe
You
now
go
do
wear
where
shoe.
no sabi so today and they spend money they so I'd rather just buy nonsense with the
Even
maid and
there
wear
was a time I was
and be
talking to my uncle, he's presently abroad. So it was not like one thing I noticed because he just recently relocated. So it was not like one thing he noticed here abroad is those work that we look at. What is
Look
this?
down.
thing?
Yeah,
What
the
is this thing?
real job.
That is what the real people are coming abroad to do.
it.
Just like it was like since he came, he has not seen like all these cobblers that walk on the street to help you sew your. So it was like
You have to
imagine
go
someone
somewhere
just
to
coming
shop.
and starting this kind of thing. Because not everybody can afford to walk into a shoe company and tell them, please just help me to do my shoe here.
My
But
nephew
those
and
guys that
nieces,
do
they- I
those
send them
cobbler
with
works,
tape and
we
needle
make
and
money
thread.
from it.
So that
So
they
it's
can
not
amend their
like
clothes.
same thing applies to plumber. That's why if you notice to cut hair abroad now is expensive to some people that can't
make hair
afford.
is
But even to make
brother-in-law
hair is
learns how to
expensive.
cut
Now
hair so
some
that
people
he
now,
will
some
cut his own
Nigerians
hair
are
before
going there
he
that can make hair from here. And now going there
I
now
have
to
a-
cash out.
I have a
I plait hair
brother.
for my neighbors. You pay me less than what you will pay
And
going
it's
to a
not-
salon.
they are not
And
taxing
make money.
brother.
And they're not taxing them. Oh.
Because their
It's just you
culture.
calling me, I enter your house,
it.
plait your
Because
hair
their
there.
culture over
And then
there
I come out
is
and
not
make
so
my
much
dollars.
about repairs. They are not really into repairs. Things go bad. Get a new
Changes.
one. There's insurance, there's all that. Even cars. I mean, just, I have a brother that went some years ago for just vacation. And while he was sitting at home, every time Netflix and chill, he was like, Omo, what's going on? He started visiting auction. People sometimes bring things out of their homes. They want to buy new ones, so they just bring and just auction up. This guy goes, takes time, selects nice things, sofa, different
Those ones
things,
that they
TVs.
auction and some
He
just throw on
goes
the streets.
and sets it there's
Someone
the
have thrown
site that he
keyboard.
puts
Those
them
things on the
on.
streets.
And
Someone
people
have thrown
buy.
it to the streets.
Yeah, sometimes you see
On the
bicycles.
streets, there's
brand
a
new.
Nigerian lady there who is there who
No,
makes-
no, somebody
this-
will look and say, this one is just sitting at home doing nothing. No, he was cleaning out. He was making money. And as he's making his money, he's chilling with Netflix. And sales are coming on from the system. But because we here don't value that dignity of labor, if you have not gotten up, somebody who, like a seamstress, somebody that sews, you will see her making money and she tells you, they find work, make her they go office too now, make me to the enter office. I'm like, what the heck? You are working. What is in that office that you don't already have? The people going into the office, they want to have time like you, where you do your thing and you still have time for yourself.
Nothing is
Do you
happening.
understand?
And then we
Something
put
you don't
ourselves
do.
under
Something
undue
you don't do.
pressure.
You see,
pressure.
I think
Someone
it's-
called me
it's-
the other time and asked me why I left my previous job. Why? Because as head of marketing, I was assigned to an official vehicle. Also, when not be my own.
Me to ask you.
As I leave the job, they see me, they bolt, they trek, they keke everywhere. I'm like, no, now.
Don't
They said,
fall
you know
hard.
that, they say no, but it's like retrogression. People are not seeing that part. As far as they're concerned, car used to come and drop you and pick you. I just said, but the peace of mind I have and the money I'm making now compared to that one. Do you know I was buying fuel inside company car because I needed to keep up appearances? Now if I booked Bolt one day to go to 2 lane for my mind, make I don't appear. And Bolt told me for what I used to carry 1,000. I don't look myself saying I even casual I wear. I walk out go streets. Which road? Enter keke. Sat at the back, paid 150 for 4,200. And I said, did I go late for this event? No. Did
your
quality
life
Did they even know? Did they even
No.
know you came through keke?
and even
If they know,
when I
shoot
take
me.
the bus, nobody greets me extra.
Nobody.
They don't realize
But
that
you know,
I
you know the thing about Gen Z, you call it steez.
Yes, these are composure,
I'm
bro.
not far from
That's
not
it.
Yes, you didn't know
Bro,
this.
how will I
I'm far from
how will I
you.
wear Agbada and come out from
I pay
keke?
my own bills.
when
So
we
that's the
begin
pressure.
to
That's
teach,
the
see
undue
this thing we're
pressure.
talking about, it's from the foundation.
no doubt.
Now, guess what?
That's the undue
There was a
pressure.
time I was talking with my children and my nephew and nieces, and we were just like, so it was this day they were pissing me off. We were going to school, so I was just yelling at them like, you guys don't even know what you're enjoying. Look at you every morning, they drive you to school, school closes, somebody comes to pick you up. Look at children like you inside keke. Look at that little boy. I didn't know I was falling my hand. I said, very soon, one day. In fact, once it's time for school, people will file out, enter keke. They were excited.
Exactly. Yes.
They were excited. They were reminding me that when we went in keke, and it made me happy. Because what it means is they don't see it as being disadvantaged. It's another way of life.
I remember
No, what it means is,
I think the challenge we had is parenting.
that is it. Parenting.
They were looking for security that could not exist. Ranging from the days of our teachers in primary and secondary school, they told us that until you become a doctor, a lawyer, and this, you don't have a fortune in
Engineer. Taylor was never your role
It
model.
wasn't there. It was for the poor class.
Teacher was
Now,
I remember when
here we are. We are the doctors. We are all buying from the same market. Now the situation of this country has bottled us back to the square root. We are all on one table, from the same market, from the same church, everything the same. Now who makes the money in daily basis? Until you have a service in this country, this has to be pronounced in your mouth.
I remember when
now, do you know that even the teachers that taught you how to produce is not buying from you?
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have confidence in what he taught you.
Exactly.
You were teaching us all the outdated courses and everything that could not produce anything in this country. Now here we are. Do we now notice that if they are planning to have a country tomorrow, they will have started production? Now, since we don't have production, there is still a problem awaiting the next generation. Until we begin to buy into this new mentality like we are discussing now, the next generation is in trouble. Do you know that they should not teach us again that there is a job awaiting for who graduates? They should turn a classroom to a workshop. Turn a classroom to a workshop. Teach me what will feed my generation, what will food from my table. Don't teach me there is a job somewhere. I think we can start from there.
I remember when I was writing JAM the first time I started writing JAM from SS1. My dad was wanted us to experience it. So
he don't trust your capacity.
No, he knew. By my SS2, I already made. He was like, you guys just go experience it. And by my SS1, I made my JAM. But of course, I was too young at the time. By SS2, I had made my papers. In fact, WAEC was just a walkover. I was just chilling because I already had my admission. Now, but there was something. I had the passion to read theatre arts. I had a cousin that, like a family friend that was in theatre arts, and I just loved what they were doing. And I said, and my dad got to find out, he didn't know I filled my JAM form, and it was theatre arts. That form was torn when my dad found. He said, in whose house to read what? What happened to law? I've always known you have to read law. And I'm like, law, Bao. I'm not a numbers person naturally. I never saw myself to be, maybe because of the math teachers I had growing up. So it was a battle, but at the end of the day, we had to come to a middle ground. I studied English. Now, today, the story about theatre arts is different. Even though some people still have some bias, those that are less exposed, but the narrative is different. And in my head, sometimes when I have conversations like that, people be like, you can do this. I'm like, hello. If I had what I wanted to do then, I wouldn't need to be seeking opportunities to hone my craft, because this is something I love to do.
Passion.
If we begin to train children, and for me personally, I'm doing that already with my children. I tell my son is in university, I say, okay, degree, yeah, it's okay, you can, but that's not the end of life. Today, you can already start. My son is already coding. He's into ethical hacking. He's doing little, and I'm like, you need to do these things. It's not about the degree. If parents begin to, and like we keep saying, it's from the foundation, and that's the home. Begin to see value in life beyond status, beyond the kind of car you drive, beyond, who you control or who you have access to. Personally, I'm not interested in who is who. That's your little space. How do you impact it? How do people see you? How do you relate with people? That's all that matters. At the end of the day, we are going to share land, money, everything. We'll leave them and go. But in our climes, Africans really, we lack self-confidence. we do not know ourselves well enough.
It's cultural imperialism that caused it,
That is
because
it.
that was not what it was
It
originally
wasn't
from
that.
the very beginning. But in our bid to mimic our slave masters and be like them, westernized, even to our skin culture, we lost those values. You know, stealing was abhorred. I know that it was death sentence in my village. In fact, if you sleep with someone's wife, the punishments then and the things that they will do to you,
Ah, in your
and then
village?
all of a sudden,
In your village?
yeah, so
That's not what we hear
because
here.
I'm from Benue,
That's not what they told us.
Only one place.
There's no
There's
place.
no Benue.
There are
If
different
we sleep with
languages.
somebody's,
Another
you didn't hear,
woman.
if we sleep with
Someone's
somebody's
wife.
wife.
No, you're not getting it.
They are
We're
different.
talking about
Story about
Benue.
Benue.
There are different tribes.
Benue is a different thing.
There are different
Benue
tribes.
is as in,
There are different
you know,
tribes
let's
in
not-
Benue.
it's on camera,
That was
so
for a
let's not-
particular tribe. I don't belong to that tribe. Besides, na myth. Anyway, so this is what it is.
Now me. Oh no.
They are taking us for
No.
No, calm down.
Benue, Makurdi.
So the cultural values we had, it was so bad that they said you couldn't even have sex under the open heavens.
Oh
That
wow.
the gods would frown at it. And then do you know where we applied our wisdom? It was during my grandmother's burial 20 years ago. That then I realized, say, people, they do things. We get wisdom, but they apply them for wrong things. And then you see teenagers who are already very sexually active. Because they needed to break the rules, now symbolism. They will just pull off those grasses that they use as those blades that they use for roofing on the palm front, and then tie to the branch of a tree.
So it's no longer
That's
under the
so it's not
heavens.
under the open heavens. That's the symbolism of a roof. It's a thatched roof.
Can you
And then, and I'm wondering, you're breaking protocols. You know, this is. So all those values, they found ways to. We
Yeah,
realize that this is what the
yeah.
law says, Abi, but this is a loophole.
Laguna.
This let us
Break it.
maneuver, and I'm wondering. So we have the wisdom, but we're not applying it to the right things. Imagine how we used to farm and we had seasons, and we knew that when you harvest, you keep your seed for the
eat
next
it
time. You
all.
don't. There are certain things. These are principles that applies to life, not just food and farming.
Yeah.
It applies to other things. And then those methods and that we used to use. Now the white man now said no, spray pesticide. In my village, unfortunately, right now nobody clears the grass with cutlass
Just
and hoe,
spray.
and everybody's buying spray. And I'm saying, do you know the effects on the soil? Do you know that the products you are now eating has chemicals in it? And they say, who will come and clear grass? I said, I'm willing to pay. But then I realized, even me with my money, why am I not clearing the grass? I'm shouting, who should? Now they are saying, whose child?
Who wants to come and
If your child will not clear grass, you want my own child to come and clear grass, but you are
John
begging
Ifa.
me for money. I'm telling you, I'll give you money. But give me service in exchange. They would rather I dash them the money
Yeah.
than put them through the stress. Why? Because I'm looking down on them that they would come and clear grass. So just say no, buy spray, I'll spray for you. You pay me. I say no, I will pay you extra. I want you to do like this. They say you come and
Do like this. But my question now would be, with all of with everything about principles and globalization, because you cannot take that away as
we're
it
not
stands.
telling our history properly.
I get that part, but in reality, where we are today, we cannot take away the fact that globalization is a thing. People are learning from out there, and even the out there is getting crazier.
And they're now beginning
So
to
can I-
imbibe our own cultures, the things
so
we
at what
abandoned.
point-
Why people are doing it?
Right. So at what point is compromise a thing? At what point should we compromise? At what point should we say, okay, let's take this and let's leave that? Because, one of the things I talk about is the fact that when you look at, in the Christian circle, is a lot of, the Bible says, don't do this, right? Quoting from maybe Leviticus or whatever, most of those laws. The Bible says don't do this. And I have a problem with when people say the Bible says don't do this. For example, the Bible says a man should not wear a woman's thing, whatever that means.
Apparel.
Yeah, whatever that means. Different people have different ways, interpretations for that. Now, but what the same person will not tell you that same Bible, read a few verses before and a few verses after. It's going to tell you about, for example, they'll tell you that if a woman is in her time of the month, she should not be in public places. She cannot sit on a seat and then stand up for you to now sit on that same seat. So we are not taking that part.
We're supposed to defecate several kilometers away from the camp.
Do you get?
You are not supposed to mix cotton and linen
Right.
together.
So we are not looking at this part. We are looking at that part.
He came and he took away the. Well, how do they say that thing? Christ came and
the law.
so that he himself was made law, so that something.
Yeah. So in the midst of all of that, for me, I'm looking at compromise from different perspectives. Now, we're taking one and leaving the other one. So with the globalization and our culture, which should be important to all of us, at what point should we compromise? At what point should we say, okay, I'm going to take this, I'm not going to take that? You talk about culture. Some people tell you that some cultural practices are very devilish.
Okay, I think I get, because when it comes to culture, I'm always so interested. Because we've come a distance of life and we've seen our hell. We can attest at this point that and that we did not give us result. There is what we call sanitation. We must do it. It has to go straight to tradition. Tradition, politics, and religion. Those three things can cripple in the generation, not only our own. Do you know that as we speak now, there are a lot of things in the same tradition that we need to revisit if we must see tomorrow and the kind of tomorrow we want? One, let me take you back. Before you make a village or a traditional ruler, how many years should they spend? Should it be for life? If yes, should this man not have a time to say, okay, I was a traditional ruler, I'm now sitting back to enjoy my life? If there is retirement in civil service, there is tenure in politics. Why can't there be a time that this
monarchical rule?
Why does that look necessary for?
So are you asking for compromise in that aspect?
If that is what we call compromise.
With the different cultures we have in Nigeria, for instance, the eastern part of Nigeria, the Igbos, they didn't have like an Igwe.
Okay.
It is only when
chiefs.
it was only when the Westerners came. That's why they had issues with what's the term now? Colonizing the East. It was easy to do that in the North because they had one person who was seen as both a spiritual and a cultural leader and all of those other things. But in the West, they couldn't do that. We had the Council of Chiefs, and even the Council of Chiefs who represented families. After a tenure, if this person dies in power or you've stayed a certain number, it doesn't go to your son. There's another person in that family, a next family member who now takes it. So if you say, that's the thing about you can't pick one principle and then apply it everywhere. You need to see the peculiarities of each zone where you're applying it. So that may not work for you to say that chiefs. Remember, those chiefs were answerable to the gods. They were custodians of the customs. And then the way the gods would deal with them was the way the gods would deal with the community. In fact, your own offense, you who should be closer to the gods, was worse. So that worked as a checkmate. So even if they were there for life, they still were bound by certain rules. I will give you an example. My mother happens to be from royalty. My people, I'm Igede by tribe. Igedes don't marry thieves because of that thing that you people feel is popular about the Benue people in general. Because we are boys, and that was a thing for them that wasn't frowned upon so much. Igedes, we are the closest though, boundary-wise, and somehow we relate very well. The thieves don't have a problem marrying the Igedes, but the Igede people, go and come, you won't. They won't allow you marry a thief person. They'd rather you even marry a Fulani nomad that doesn't stay in one place. That's how terrible it was. So my mother's father, who was the Ochidoma, then they now said, Oga, Yusef, use your position, you're a Christian, come and abolish this thing. And then he said, okay, abolish it, the thieves can now marry. They now said, so starting from you, give one of your daughters out. He married to this. We said, no, he believes in love. He has seen life. He cannot force his children into this thing. So he said it, but he knew the impact. So the action did not follow. It's one thing to say it, it's another thing to follow it. It is so strong, even till date. It's not like we don't have people who don't break it, though. They break it now. But people like my father, who hold dear to those principles, even if it is the child of his best friend that is marrying a thief person, he doesn't even attend because he feels like if he attends, it means he has supported,
Consent,
and
yeah.
his children would now see it as him agreeing. I wasn't raised by my father, but as soon as I went back for my university undergraduate days, he just called me and said, "See, all that Lagos thing you learned, it doesn't apply here. You can have friends with everybody. You can have friends with thief people, but a thief man you cannot marry." And I was like, Jesus came and he died. You believe Christ died for us? Say yes, he died for you and I, yes. So that all is well. He said yes, but see, leave that thing. Even Jacob had to go back home to go and marry.
You said something very instructive.
You understand? He said all of those things. And then I said, no, but this is... So whenever such marriages happens, the worst he will do is, no one concern them, but he would not go. He would not contribute. If they are doing elders' contribution for that one, even if nobody would notice, his money will not enter. And I said, you're doing this now, but don't expect that myself and my siblings will hold on there to this and pass it on to our own children. That is where dilution is coming in.
Yeah.
That's it. Which
So
is
you
the compromise
understand?
we're talking
So
about.
Are you saying we should abolish that?
Let
No,
me say,
what
let
I'm
me say
saying
something
is that
concerning
when the
this
righteous
now.
man is on the throne, the people rejoice. It may look as if it's something we cannot dilute. Compromise will always exist. Why it will exist is that for the sake of the next generation, Christ did not say that he's coming to finish everything. He came to sanitize. What was done right, he pushed for it. What was not done right, he maneuvered to make sure that thing dies naturally in a few seconds after his reign.
Okay.
You now believe that after that moment, after Christ started his operations, a lot of things begin to die naturally. A mere question: if you say that this lady who has committed fornication deserves to die by stone, if you have not committed the biggest, even something worse than this, be the first to cast the stone. The solution started immediately. Even the worst person who knew that even the last five few seconds ago, he committed even the worst and nobody did it, they began to migrate.
Okay.
So let me say something to that compromise stuff. Ali said something that she was rounding up. That's what's it again now? But what I'd like to say, compromise is something that is inevitable in life. But when you put it side by side, our cultural inclinations and the globalization of the world, compromise is allowed, or I would say should be allowed, as far as it doesn't take over our humanity. So there's something in the Bible about the fruits of the spirit and, things, I'd say principles of life.
Yeah.
And when they were listed, they said, against this, there is no law.
law.
So there is no law against kindness. There's no law against seeing another person that this person is valuable as I am valuable. There is no law in valuing what belongs to another person. Nobody will take you to court for valuing somebody else's life. These are values that cut across every culture. No culture will come and say we don't in our culture that you cannot be kind. Nobody is going to come in the whole world. So if we're going to compromise and understand that yes, the world is a global village, we need to adapt, everybody needs to blend in and live together. If we begin to erode from those values, then that compromise breaks everything.
Yes.
It breaks everything.
Yes.
So if we know that, just like she said, there is a reason why these people don't marry. Okay, she made reference to Jacob. Even from Abraham, I think it was Jacob marrying Rebecca and
Jacob
Leah and Rachel.
Yeah,
But Isaac,
Mhm.
it's even Isaac I was looking at, Isaac and Rebecca.
Rebecca.
There was a reason why they said, go to
Sent him with his
his mother said,
trusted
go to my
servants.
brother's place. Why? It's because of the values that have been held close to their lifestyle. That is their culture. So there is no stealing in that bloodline. There is no killing. There is no madness. There is no this. So some people will be like, but
Generational
those things don't make any sense. It's the dilution that has brought us to where we are. There's nothing wrong in saying, I know these people. I know their way of life. It's valuable. Let's build on it. But when we come and say it doesn't really matter, human being is human being,
The world is
Yes,
a
so-
global
you begin to
village.
see this dilution coming. So just like we say, okay, it's a global village. I can go to here in the US. It doesn't matter if you want to marry. Your parents can be there.
They
You
don't
cannot
even
be
check
there.
your
It doesn't
family.
matter. Who cares? Let's just go to Vegas and here.
Doesn't work here.
When we
We've
know that
already
you're not
brought it
marrying,
here.
and we have brought it, and it's
Unfortunately,
already
we brought it.
affecting
It's
us.
happening.
Where you cannot just say, "I like this girl. Let's marry."
Without
Where is
investigating
our
the
family?
family.
Who are they? Why? Because we are we are built as relational beings. God created us to be relational beings, so we cannot operate in isolation. But as much as we cannot operate in isolation, we cannot let go of the values that are natural. Nothing is going to come and say it is bad to be good. So if whatever compromise we want to make will erode that, then that's where you draw the line.
Madam just said something touching, because when you begin to mention characters that build up a tradition, I was so interested. Because in tradition, you are looking for 5 things: character, the food, the language, the value, and the people's history. Now, after all of these things, there is life in it, there is food on the table in all of these things we've mentioned. And there is a generation that should come to inherit this history, inherit this value, inherit this language, inherit this attitude, inherit the character. This is what depicts a generation. For instance, I'm an persons. Now, it is a general notion in a couple. So if you marry an Annan woman, wow, you become a success.
Why mention my name?
I think that
You are going to spend a fortune.
Yes.
You're going to pay
Yes,
because your life will be miserable.
Yes. I'm trying to put to something
You look
realistic. Now it is understood. Now nobody will check whether there are other Anang ladies who are not doing well in the marriage. But for the fact that there is a history that has been transferred to the next generation, and we try to uphold it. Life is like a house of representative. You don't need to see an Anang woman, but once you see me, begin to check me out.
Yeah.
If I do well, give it to my Anang people. If I don't do well, bullshit to them. So now it is on these premises that we can now say, okay, let us begin to uphold these things that represent us, so that wherever you go, you will become ambassadors of this trait, these characters, good life, culture, food, and all of this things that we are known for. Not until we now know that there is multi-food on the table. Nobody's fighting for anybody again. We will have to say, okay, culture, language, all of these things. Can you wait aside? Let me have what to eat first, so that after all of this, we can now survive and protect the tradition.
So, but you know that in closing, because our go time is almost now. So compromising, especially when it has to do with culture. Of course, there are some things that have to be watered down.
Absolutely.
Yes, like yesterday I was saying on the radio that I just found out that the next village in where I come from, neighboring village, they used to have this masquerade celebration. This very, very, it's very thick. Like only men that have been initiated into that cult or society can come out. Men that have not been initiated cannot come out. Women don't come out. Children don't come out. But recently, I went to the village and then I saw my dad. My dad was telling me that because his wife, now his wife works in that community teacher. And she was telling me that now these days they allow schools to open on that day. And they allow children go to school. Absolutely. They allow the women naturally don't come out. But they allow the female teachers pass. They know who is a teacher. So they allow you pass. Before, if you come out, you'll be killed. But they allow you pass. They know okay, you're a teacher, so you can go. You're teaching our children. You're compromised.
There's a righteous man on the throne.
You understand?
So that compromise is needful because this thing is not
beneficial
to your humanity. So
again.
it's okay to allow such.
Maybe we are using the wrong word, compromise. Can we call it sanitation? Because sanitation.
Take away from it's compromise.
It's compromise. Tolerance, so to speak.
Maybe we can say anyway. we have a way of making it happen this time. We must survive. We can't die here.
So that is I think we've come to the end of today's the booth.
Open-ended.
Actually, somehow it usually is like that. We have the movie, we have conversations, but then it's no holds barred. There's here we normally say there's no mentor, there's no mentee. Everybody has a voice. Yeah. So
and incredibly, people are learning from.
Everybody's coming to learn from each other here. So as I've learned something, and usually would say, what are your takeaways? So we'll start with you, Promise. What's your takeaway from today?
My own takeaway is everyone should know who they are and what they want. You get? But I feel another angle, sometimes you can learn to compromise sometimes. But just know who you are, know your value, your worth, and know what you really want. It will help you in it.
Okay. Erika, you came late. So I just
But she was nodding and ad-libbing to some of the things we were saying.
Should we talk?
Okay, so for me, I would say that we should be more deliberate about influencing our immediate environment. We shouldn't wait for a miracle. It's not a one-man thing. It's not P2B or any other person or a Miloko. It's about you. What are you doing in your space to change the narrative? Do your bit. And pray that God's kingdom will come quickly to end the rest. We're never near the ending. The Bible has foretold all of this and many more to come. So that's it. Thank you.
Yeah. For me, I think it's been very interesting having these conversations, and we've moved several places, but all coming together. There's something that's like something we run with in my family. That my dad taught us, and we passed on to our children. There are 3 C's in life: chances, choices, consequences. We all have the chance to make. We have opportunities, we have chances all around us, and then it's our job to make choices. But whatever choices we make, there will always be consequences, good or bad. So whatever we choose to do, feel free. But when the consequences come, own up and live with it. For me, that's the takeaway from all of this. In all that we saw, just like the trailer we watched on our MC, at the end of the day, everyone will make a choice with whatever is before them, and whatever consequences come out of it, it's our call.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I've learned a lot, but it returns back to my mindset that I used to have. There is no need living a high life low profile. Yes, in the sense that this is a thing that will keep you on the table, but for the fact that you've already profiled yourself up there with no naira, you think that it's for the kids. But it is the kid that is continuing the generation, because you felt too big to start somewhere. Now it is those that started somewhere that they are paying because of the experience, and they are the one in charge to take decisions that we will have taken if we have taken that chance. Then I also understand that learning is not an independent thing. You learn from me, I learn from you. Allow yourself to be placed on the place of thought. Definitely you take something home. So for me, it's a gradual thing. This is my first time I'm playing all of this. What if I started long ago? So I will not take chances of missing this unless I can make it. So I think all of that's possibility that make it happen. And I know I will learn more in the next day. Thank you.
Okay.
It is not your first time.
No. So I think I was say from the last thing I learned, in between culture and globalization, know when to draw a compromise. Don't be stiff. I mean, even as besides culture, even in daily living, don't be stiff. Know when to adjust. And from what he just said, I mean, that's powerful. If your high profile this is not paying, go and do the one I explained. There's no need to be proud. This pride will not put food on your table. So yeah, that's it.
That you feel.
Okay, so for me,
Wait, now we will turn you camera. Where we go press?
it's running already. It's still running. Yeah, just. Well, for me, it's really about compromise, because I feel like it's one of the big issues that we've had. And my God, you don't know that last thing you just said, the chances, choices,
And
Consequences.
you have
That
no.
one.
Rema.
I have preached. You see that thing you just said? I have preached it. I've preached a million sermons on that because I realized that it's just something you cannot run away from. My village people, they know me. That's my immediate village people. they know me, and I keep saying it. I say if I talk to you about something and you don't do it or you don't follow, when the consequences come, I'll be seated. I will. They know. I will be seated and watch you. Even my daughter is that bad that as small as she is, my wife complains, but it's fine. They'll get to understand. I'm saying sit down here. You're saying you want a job. When you fall, I'll be seated here. Like right here.
The best thing is to say sorry, but you'll be crying.
Sometimes I'll not even say the sorry. My own is that bad. I'll not even say the sorry. Do you get? So in like well.
Allow her explore the world.
That's fine.
She's not timid.
I don't have a problem with that. I'm saying that when the consequences come, you will chase it by yourself.
Allow children do dangerous things.
I am fine with that.
Yes, jump from skyscraper.
I don't have a problem with that.
No selling the guy.
You see?
Thank you.
So basically for me, compromise, it's important to understand when to compromise. But it's also important for people to understand that for every action you take, for every choice you make, there's either a good or a bad reward. So whatever comes with it, you know that by yourself, saying, "I me choose this one."
So I would say that in between my way and your way, the middle is where compromise lies. And you just know where you're compromising, who is compromising, and what you're compromising. If in the end it benefits you or it benefits the good of everybody involved, if there's a win-win, there's this book, they said it's the Go Giver. He said you cannot just look at life as win-win all the time. Sometimes you have to let some things go. If you need to let sometimes you stoop to conquer. So sometimes let some things go. Sometimes stand your ground and carry everything. Sit on the can. It's your own. It's your right. Look on. It's your time to shine. So far you're not killing people.
You brought it up.
So that's it. We've come to the end of today's today's episode of The Booth, and this is for September. We'll see again in October, God willing. This conversation, there will be bits of it on, if you head to our Instagram page, Volt Productions, you'll find it there. You'll find some other things like Pour It With Palm. There's the lift, there's Quote Me, there is Newsstand there. So you'll find many things there. And you also find it, if you look for Volt Productions on YouTube, you can relive this discussion and this particular discussion, and as we look forward to the next one, there's also a WhatsApp group that keeps you informed and updated with every other thing that we're coming up with. Thank you so much for coming around. We love you guys, and we can't wait to see you again next time.
Thank you.